Welcome to SJSO Unlocked, St. Johns County Sheriff's Office podcast. This is our first episode. How excited is everybody?
Super excited. Yes.
So excited.
Tara Wild is super.
Yeah. So here joining us, we have Kendell Hardwick, Sheriff Hardwick, and Director Tara Wilds. This is our first episode. This is going to be kind of an introduction and just what everybody can expect. This has been a almost year-long project that we've been working on. The name SJSO Unlocked was from SJSO personnel who we got over 100 different name suggestions. That's awesome. And we went through a lot, but this is the one that we chose that we think represents the podcast well.
And I love the buy-in from the agency. That's pretty incredible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's been, everybody's been super excited for it. We have a lot of good plans. So let's get started. I mean, what are you all looking forward to the most for the podcast?
You know, I think the first thing is just I'm excited to actually showcase our agency. That's something we have worked on hard since you've been here, and it's a testament to you, by the way. I mean, since you got here, of course, is getting those relationships, you know, understanding what we do behind the scenes of the St. Johns County Sheriff's Office, and understanding it's not just about this uniform. There's so many people that work behind the scenes just as hard, if not harder. And I'm excited for this. So this is really open to what our fan base is, which of course is our agency. So super excited to showcase our people and what they do and how they make this entire machine just work.
And you do a good job with that already on social media. It's pretty amazing what you put out there and how you include everybody from the Sheriff's Office. And you've done an amazing job.
Thank you. I mean, there's no shortage of stories here. We have plenty more to share that we haven't yet. So it's
and you really can't ever have too much information. I mean, communication is the key to everything. And the more you put out, the more people are going to be engaged, and I think that's where we want to go with this.
Exactly, and we've gotten a huge response on social media, especially Facebook. We had hit 100,000 followers, which was something the sheriff wanted.
Very good.
My goal was the end of the year, and I think we hit it, October?
Sometime
in October.
Proud of you. Yeah.
So a lot of engagement on social media, so we hope to keep it up.
I think the other thing, too, I think you show, too, is when you do these podcasts, you know, Taylor, is that you show the people that there is a human side to us, too, as well. And we do laugh, we do cry, and we do suffer just like everybody else. I think it's awesome.
Well, 4 more years. A sheriff.
Yes.
Heavy topic.
Heavy. Oh, my goodness. Okay, here we go. Yeah, let the games begin.
But a big topic.
Sure.
What are you looking forward to most? What's something that you see yourself doing even more these next 4 years?
Hey, you know, I'll tell you this, it takes a partnership, and I'm blessed in life to have a partnership in my office with all my employees, but also, too, my home life with my wife, too, as well, who everybody knows this. We're together all the time, and I think that's what set us different from any other leader in this profession, I'll be honest with you. And she has a full-time gig on top of that. But I look forward to what are we going to do next year, because we completed a lot of things. When I say we, it's my home life, it's my work life, too, as well. And my work life, too, is 1,000 employees answering to 350,000. So work life and home life, they commingle together. So I'm always looking about things I can do better. You know, we'll always continue to talk about, you know, benefits and pay for our employees. That's something that's always been top priority to me, because we've been at the bottom of the barrel pay and trying to figure out how to pay those bills. Right. And that's one thing when you don't hear the conversation at work about pay and benefits, then you know you're on the right trajectory, but you know you're not done either. Of course, there's another thing, too, with new commissioners coming in. We have 2 out of the 5 commissioners that are brand new. We have to form those professional relationships. We have to understand the guardrails, per se, of what the sheriff does for our agency and what I do as a partnership relationship with our commissioners. So going forward, as you know, the reentry, pre-entry outreach, Director Wilds helped me get that going in our jail. And that is still something that I'm very, very passionate about. We have seen a reduction, and this is something, too. I mean, she has been a mentor of mine. When she came here, she proved it. And we've seen what we can do if we just invest a little bit in our outreach program, our substance abuse, mental health, veterans. I can go on and on and on. That's a big thing. We do have to prepare for what does this jail look like 5 years from now. Yes, our population is manageable. How long do we get a hold? How long can we maintain that together where it starts exceeding what we can actually hold in there? So that's a priority of mine. And then also, too, we like our men and women to be in the best equipment, the best uniforms. I would love to see my agency continue to lean towards recruiting and retention of females in uniform. It will never match my community. It's 52% is female dominant in St. Johns County. I would love to see that I don't know if I'll ever make it there, but I think we're in a better spot than we were when I took over just 4 years ago. So the other thing too as well is I know people are like, well, Sheriff's more worried about getting his people in a new building. You're darn right I am. Right. Our people deserve something better than the 1963 Wise potato chip factory that we sit in today. Her people, Director Wild's people, deserve better than the old medical examiner's office where we did autopsies for years as a young detective. Her people are sitting in there. I think we deserve better than that.
Do people know that the history of where the sheriff's office sits now? Do a lot of people know that?
No, please. I don't know if everybody understands. I don't think everybody understands. When you talk about history and where the sheriff's office sits, I don't know if everybody understands what that actually means. And that's why I promote it. I discuss it. I talk openly about it. And, an outside person that doesn't work here and said, we said 1963 buildings. That's not that bad. But this is where her and I, as a child, went on field trips and got a free bag of chips. Seriously, where you sit today. And our people deserve better than that. If you want first-class customer service, we will provide it no matter if we're working in a tent, seriously, or if we're working in a state-of-the-art building. But my people deserve better. Our people deserve better of working in a brand-new building. And they always say something, when a leader comes in, leave it in better shape than what you found it. Yes, great. But that includes, too, infrastructure, which is our buildings. Sorry, I cut you off.
No, that was perfect. Yeah, absolutely.
So thinking about these buildings, like if you think about buildings where comm centers are and jails and things like that, it may be a 10-year-old building, but you're using it 24 hours a day. So most buildings are only used about a third of the time. So a 10-year-old building is equivalent to a 30-year-old building because of the utilization of it. And especially in the cases of like a jail where your clientele isn't really happy to be there and aren't going to take part in the maintenance of it, then it actually ages that building even more. So, and it's also something that nobody wants to build. Taxpayers don't want to build a jail. They don't want to invest that money.
Right.
So it's kind of like schools and jails. Nobody wants to have anything to do with it unless they have somebody in one of them.
Right.
Good point.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's a really good point.
But there's been renovations in our jail recently, right?
Yeah, so the jail, when Director Wilds and I took over, and Director Wilds, of course, was running the jail at the time, and we took over together, of course, the jail. I mean, she understood right away that, you want your people to have pride in coming to work. And a little bit of paint on the walls. Our jail now, I tell you what, 4 years ago, it was embarrassing. And I was embarrassed for my people and the inmate population that are in there. You fast forward now to 4 years, it smells good, it's clean, and it's really quiet as a mouse. That's not normal for jails. I mean, Director Wilds has been in there almost 40 years. But we take pride in that conversation, and you're going to see with that comes a reduction in inmates acting up. It comes with a reduction in your office as your deputy sheriffs acting up, use of forces. And we've seen that totally churn, in just 4 years. And like I said, she's been doing this a lot longer than I have, especially in the jail part of it. And we have seen this come to total fruition going, you invest a little bit and you get some buy-in, and this is what happens.
Right.
Well, I knew some things would work based on my experience. I just knew they would work. But I never had the opportunity to put them into practice. And that's one thing that Sheriff Hardwick's been able to allow us to do here is to put some of those ideas into practice that because of whatever reason, politics, financing, whatever, I wasn't able to do before. And I think it's really, really paid off for the whole community, not just for the jail, but for the people in the jail. We have a safer community, and we're not having to hurry up and build a facility. We can plan it, we can take our time and do it the right way.
Yeah. I think the other thing, too, is it's mutual respect, and I know people laugh when I say this, and her and I talked about this, Director Wilds and I, but I hate calling it a jail. I know it's funny when I say it's a gated community, but it is a gated community. It's a community of people that are gated, that are getting, some type of rehabilitative services that we are providing, hopefully. And the other thing, too, as well, is I hate the word inmate. It's got a stigmatism with the word inmate, so they're temporary guests. That's the truth. They're temporary guests in a gated community. But we have really invested in there. My wife, I'm so proud of my jail. We walk that jail, usually on holidays.
We do.
And she makes a comment about, there's no cat calling going on. Not because it's a shit. They don't know who I am. Most of them don't. It's not. There's no cat calling. There's no unprofessional things going in there. My staff love her walking in there. I'm proud of my jail. I really am. I'm proud of it.
Right. Yeah.
We have a long ways to go. We're not done yet.
Can we say that the inmate population's been dropping over the last few years?
But by far, it's proven. I mean, it's kind of, you can't, the data proves to itself, but with that, when you have an investment in your jail, which is the reentry, the pre-entry, the outreach, when you meet with the city of St. Augustine, Sergeant Brittany Garman has done a phenomenal job downtown with, let's give a little bit of a price tag here. And then she's real good at this too, Director Wilds is. An average inmate in our jail is running about $143 a day. But you bring a homeless person in there who's actually got some type of services that are required. It's mental health, medical,
Usually chronic
substance
medical
abuse.
disorders, yeah.
They're averaging $200 or $300 a day. So you got to be innovative and think outside the box and get that team together going, how are we going to do this together? And we did that. We did that with the city of St. Augustine, and we did that with putting the round peg, per se, in the round hole with Sergeant Michael Clark and his reentry team, his outreach team, his homeless initiative team. And then next thing you know, you got to, people don't understand it, because if you tell them, if Director Wilds want to meet with you and say, hey, we're going to get crime reduced in St. Johns County, we're going to have a reduction in our inmate population, recidivism, they're going to say, okay, we've heard this our entire careers. Right. Now, I mean, we're going to the national level talking about this, going, no, look, you can do this if you just invest from the top. Yep.
Well, you guys meet people at their lowest point in life and you give them resources, and that's impressive. So where most people just shut the door, the jail cell, and walk away, you don't. You invest in them and you give them the resources to succeed when they get out, which is, it's remarkable.
And those resources come from dozens of community partners.
Right.
Oh,
Some
goodness.
nonprofit,
Yeah,
some
So
for-profit.
fortunate.
Great point.
I mean, we can't do any of this by ourselves.
Absolutely
This isn't
not.
something that
That's a great
one
point.
or even all of us together did. This is absolutely a community effort. I think a lot of times people don't see people living in incarcerated
Sure.
standards as being a part of the community, but they are a part of your community.
Right.
99% of them are going to be out. They're going to be the people that are going to be standing in line behind you at Publix. They're going to be sitting next to the amp. They're going to be walking down the beach with you at some point in time. So if we're not investing in them and making them better than what they came in as during the time we have them, then, they're going to make you a little more nervous when they're standing behind you in line at Publix.
And they'll be
point.
back. So you
And we'll be
guys,
back.
right.
Yeah.
So
Well,
reduce that as well.
Director Wilds, when her and I were talking, this is 4 years, maybe a little bit more than 4 years ago, she's like, either you're going to invest in it, right? Put people in those spots and not have a part-time gig, or it's going to fail. And when she was the director of the jail, we invested in there with full-time people doing nothing besides exactly what they're doing now, outreach, pre-entry. And we saw it too. I mean, she was so excited the first time she came in, and she's like, Sheriff, we got a reduction. This is a 40-year veteran.
Right,
we got a
yeah.
reduction in recidivism by 10%. It's unheard of right now. And we don't have a crime problem in St. Johns County because we are fighting crime on just besides going out and being deputy sheriffs. We're fighting crime from behind corrections, meaning we're making people into something better than what they came in as.
And the technology we use. If we kind of pivot to that, to the technology that we use in patrol, in our CID, in our investigative divisions, I mean, we take advantage of the best technology has to offer. We really do. And I think we do it better than really anybody in our region.
I have to agree with you.
What would you say on the technology portion is the biggest game changer in our county that we would use, that we've seen the biggest, accomplishments, I guess you could say?
I would say it's totality of the circumstances. Couldn't get it out. Totality of the circumstances. It's totality of the circumstances, meaning that totality of the technology that we are using, as opposed to it's just license plate readers.
Yeah.
It's just the introduction of cameras in our schools.
It's the meshing.
It's
all of it
yeah,
together.
There you go. All the above. And boots on the ground, right? It starts with the deputy sheriff on the first time they get out of their car providing the service. And then it goes into the technology-based policing where, license plate readers, but if you can have all this technology, but if you don't use it properly and don't put some type of guardrails on the actual technology, and then also, too, being open to, Lieutenant George Harrigan, before he came to the office of the sheriff, that was his thing, real-time intelligence. But the problem is you talk about real-time intelligence and people don't really understand it. But if you open your doors saying, what technology do you have? Iris, bring it in, let's try it out. And if it doesn't work, then we get rid of it. But when I became the sheriff, I listened to them saying, Sheriff, we want to try this technology. You shouldn't be coming to the sheriff. I'm going to support you, whatever you can do to lower crime and take care of our citizens and protect the people that we serve. So it's been a totality of the circumstances, I'll be honest with you.
So there's no limitations to what
Zero.
you're saying to technology whatsoever.
Oh, there's a couple things coming around the corner that I think
I
are
was
going to
just
be
gonna say.
really exciting.
What's the
latest
You
and
got
greatest?
AI, artificial intelligence. I mean, we're still seeing how that's going to work out in a criminal justice environment, but there are so many good ideas about some of the very mundane tasks that we do now that AI may be able to do for us, thereby freeing up our men and women to do more hands-on things that can't be done with the artificial intelligence. Just about everybody has a smartwatch on these days. They have monitors now, jumping back to the jail, that you can put on the inmates that'll monitor heart rate, monitor those kind of things. You can detect medical problems before they become a problem. You can also detect when people are going to get into a fight because their heart rate goes up and those kind of things, and you
crazy.
can intervene
Really?
quicker.
Yes.
Yeah, so
Interesting.
that's,
Wow.
again, those technologies are in their kind of elementary statuses right now, but we're going to get there, and I believe we'll get there in the next 4 years.
That's I haven't even heard of that before. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Have you implemented anything new, or are you planning on implementing anything new recently?
Sure. Yeah. So a couple of things actually. We can kind of go back to the jail a little bit. Of course, this was something she initiated on the way out when before she became the general services director. Was the RFI system, of course, where we have we're actually
Guardian system.
the Guardian system, which our inmates now are actually monitored through a cell phone system where there's kind of like a little red, almost looks like a garage door opener kind of thing. It's actually in front of all their cell blocks, and now you physically just saves time and also gets that reduction of direct supervision, a little bit indirect supervision. That's one thing in the jail we've introduced. The other thing too is, of course, these new cars and technology, of course, in our cars they're the latest and greatest. Our fleet division has directly. The old days of just buying a car that's outfitted and coming to work, are over and done with. These cars are being built on premises now. Our deputy sheriffs are actually involved in building the cars, so it starts down there. You go over to technology in our schools, which of course Kendall's very familiar with. After Marjorie Stoneman Douglas, of course, Centegix is still a new system. We're on year 2 over there. It has literally saved lives. We saw that used in Georgia at the beginning of the school year. Centegix was a brand new system there. Also, too, with some technology in the schools we're using with opening and closing doors at 2 of our newest high schools and 2 of our new academies. And that technology, again, is just changing. So I would say, yeah, that's some new technology we've added in there, too. And you have been an addition to technology.
Right. Absolutely.
Honestly.
Yeah.
And I hate to say that, but you have brought what your expertise at your level has brought to the agency where we don't need you. Yes, we do. We need that partnership, that relationship. And then you can educate, because you came in and sat down the first time I met you. You were the one that we need to be educated on technology-based policing. So I think we've added a lot of things, and we are totally open to, we added, e-bikes. We have e-bikes in our agency. We added an airboat. So I talk about technology. We always think about, cameras, lights, and that kind of stuff.
Drones.
It's more than that. What's that?
Drones.
Yeah,
Drones.
drones.
Can we talk about the new SWAT drone?
Yes.
The BRINC Lemur 2?
Yep, absolutely. Yep. So just remind me in a minute. So yeah, also too, the new helicopter too, the technology in the brand new helicopter, the 407 that came in, the GXI. So again, that technology, and you've been on our Marine units. The technology in our Marine units of how we're policing so far offshore is because of people like Lieutenant Underwood, who have just been totally open-minded to bring the technology here. Let's try it out. Yeah.
On the topic of drones,
The Lima drone.
we just got it, a
Yeah.
couple months ago?
Yeah.
That
yeah.
is awesome. It's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So and I'm sure too, we have a SPOT demo coming up too as well. And this isn't all, we talk about the SWAT drone. It's just basically, taking the generic drone, of course, that we currently have, that the citizens can really buy the same drones. Well, of course, with the new Lima drone, the Lima drone can actually break windows. It's just a little bit more indestructible. And the goal is really to put these drones, of course, into these scenes and hopefully, divert the fact of my deputy sheriffs going in there and risking their lives on a person that's maybe mentally ill or, of course, has a substance abuse issue or just simply wants to take their life along with someone else. So the Lima drone, of course, you saw the demo, was pretty powerful. It's not any bigger than the old drones that we have. But the technology for it, of course, is to use it, and we were trying that day in the tactical training facility, was basically use that drone and save lives and get it inside a facility. It can also communicate with our suspect. So let's just say the suspect's in there and, again, suffering from some type of mental illness or substance abuse. This drone can actually go in the room and start communicating via loudspeaker with our crisis negotiation teams. So it's pretty powerful. Excited about it.
I think the coolest thing I saw was it could break windows.
Yes.
That was the coolest demonstration.
I know. Yeah, I thought so too as well. Yeah.
That
yeah.
was-
You
that
like
was really
destruction, Taylor. We like it. Yeah. You're gonna fit in just fine.
But on top of that, you mentioned the new helicopter.
Yep.
How air patrols, drone, canines, all of those units come together in a moment of crisis. Not even that, but just everyday policing from the air, from the ground, from the water, from all those.
Think about the missing child. Just, was that a couple weeks
Couple
ago?
weeks ago.
Yeah, and
Yes.
all of those resources. I mean, like within
That quick.
10 minutes, we had drones, we had dogs, we had everything there.
For anybody who doesn't know what you're talking about, can you recap that call?
Good.
Yeah, so that was a nonverbal autistic child, went missing, grandmother's bringing in the trash cans. I mean, not her fault at all, just like we've all done with children. You turn your head for just a second and they're poof, they're very fast. And anyway, the little girl went missing and she immediately called in for help, and we had people there just like that and had the technology up, had the dogs up. Luckily, it turned out she had, and this is another good little cautionary tale, she had actually just went next door. The house next door was an Airbnb. They had left the doors open. Probably the cleaning crew had come in. The little girl went in the house and just was sitting there. But so all's well that ends well. But just having people that can get there so quick, and we have, I don't know how many a year that we have of missing children.
all the time, for
Right.
goodness
And
Recently,
yeah,
it's
recently.
a
I
lot
mean,
more.
it seems like it happens almost once a week. But again, it's the speed of response and getting there right away when things happen so that you can avoid any tragedy.
I think 8 years old, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
I think so.
think it was like
around
8.
that age.
Yeah.
I don't remember the age, but I know it just hits your heart, and you just stop, and you're just thinking, what's around? What are the surroundings? Where could this child be?
One thing Director Wiles didn't mention was because of our relationship with the community, people start checking their
Yes.
own Ring doorbell cameras, their own home cameras. And because of a neighbor paying attention, reviews that camera, gives us information to our detectives. They go over to the house, the door's unlocked, it's a rental house or Airbnb house. They open the door, and this nonverbal autistic kid, by the grace of God, is in there, unharmed, and we get to return back to their family. Yeah. Amazing.
So a couple hours had passed, right?
It was about 2.5,
Between-
I think, total.
yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Yep.
But
Yep.
community effort. All
It's
around.
community
Absolutely.
effort. Yeah.
There were so many neighbors out just walking the streets, looking. Our deputies were going over fences, checking pools, down in the ditches, doing those kind of things. But you also had neighbors, like you said, checking their cameras, walking the streets themselves, calling her name, doing
Yeah.
those kind of things.
And I remember, I think the child's mom tagged us in something on Facebook. Huge,
Yes.
long message.
Yeah.
About just how grateful she was about
Yeah.
the response
Yeah.
in general and communities help and all that. And that was pretty powerful.
Yeah,
because
that
you
is
don't really,
powerful.
you don't necessarily see that all the time. So
No, we have a great community. They really are. And it isn't like that everywhere. I'll say that. Our community backs us better than I think any place I've ever seen.
Yeah, that's a
they're
good
they're
point.
behind us.
Yeah, we're blessed. Back to your original, comment too as well was the teamwork, totality of all the equipment used in there. One thing we've really, sometimes you become a leader somewhere and you're like, either we're going to invest in this or we're going to get rid of the program. And the aviation was one of those when I became your sheriff was we either going to invest in this program and it's going to be done right. But one pilot, one part-time pilot, a couple pilots is not going to work in old aircrafts. We've really invested in that aviation unit. Now there's 4 pilots over there. Actually, a 5th one's on military leave, but there's actually 5 pilots over there, 4 pilots over there. That helicopter is physically up I'm exaggerating all the time, but it's up during our peak hours. That is another thing that we just don't, it's a patrol car in the sky. You get that stolen vehicle, you get that violent crime that's been committed, and you're trying to find it. The helicopter's there. The old days of the helicopter flying at 300 feet or over with, they can fly at 4,000 feet. As you know, you flew before with them, and you can read name tags on our uniforms. So with our drone unit, we have now drones all across the county on every single shift where we have drone pilots out there. You have our canine units. We had 3 of our canines here this morning. I think it's all those in our
And
deputy
I'm going to
sheriffs.
tie in one more
Please,
thing
come on.
because you talk about it all the time is the key importance of comms because
Yeah.
they
Absolutely.
are
Yeah.
relaying the information back and forth and you hear them communicating with all of the resources that are out there and letting them know what's going on. It's play by play and you can hear it. And they're special people as well that don't always get the recognition because they're not per se boots on ground, but they are. They are boots on ground.
They are
just-
first responders, and a lot of people
Absolutely.
don't look at them like they are, but they are absolutely first
Oh,
responders.
they're heroes,
and
absolutely.
they deserve all the benefits that first responders receive.
Wait till they hear this, for goodness sakes.
No, it's so
It's like,
true.
Kendall, we love Kendall.
But you say it all the time. You talk about them all the time, but I want them included in this situation
I
because
mean, it starts with
they
them,
are
too.
a key.
It does start
key
with them,
point
and they
to
are
all of
also
them.
the ones that pull in all the
Yeah.
pieces when
Yeah.
things happen.
Right.
That doesn't just people don't just wake up and say, "Oh, I feel like there's a drone image in this. I'm missing my drone out." No, they
Right.
get notified by comms to get the drone out, to get the canines out.
I'm glad you said it because it starts with a call taker that picks up that panic
Right,
call with
right.
my child is gone, my grandson is gone, granddaughter is gone.
Mm-hmm.
You're right. It starts right then and there with calm down. We're going to get help there immediately. You're right. It starts with that, and then they it's not just real time intelligence too. We always talk about they're watching the cameras. No, they're not. Comms is also watching the cameras.
Right.
I mean, comms is actually pulling this data, reach out to Iris, putting in these requests in, doing these immediate pings on phones if we're missing people or suspects in crime. You're right, they're amazing people. And they end up somewhere in the agency. If you do a little bit of polling in the agency and go, hey, where'd you start your career at? Comms, figures. Of
A
course
lot
you
of
do.
deputies, right?
Yeah, a lot of a lot of deputies, a lot of HR. I mean, you name it, this agency, they started in comms. It's kind of cool. It's kind of powerful. Yeah.
Oh. What about patrol? Any updates on patrol, just response in general? That's one thing we haven't touched yet.
Yeah, so we pride ourselves that we continue to be below that 6-minute call mark on our priority 1 calls. And that honestly, as the dispatchers are immediately typing in the notes of a 911 call, these deputy sheriffs can see it on their screen. So now they start to ease towards there before, the old days, and Director Wilds and I, of course, when, you had to wait for that radio transmission to say, hey.
You sound old here, yeah.
You wait for that radio transmission, of course, to wait for where you're going to go to the next call. Those days are over with. As soon as that dispatcher starts typing in calls, the deputy sheriff gets an alert on their computer, and they start watching, of course, what's coming in. And the next thing, too, as well, with technology-based policing is you can see where the deputy, you see them now and say, hey, sheriff's office, SO1, you're right in the area. Can you respond to this? Because you're the closest unit. So, again, we talk about technology-based policing. It's a much bigger picture than just waiting for, of course, the cameras to come through or technology to come through. There's a much bigger picture. Our patrolmen and women, I'm telling you what, they are some of the best in the business. I've been doing this 31 years. My wife and I got a little emotional tonight because when they see her too, she's formed her own rapport with them here in the agency. It's a profession that all works together, like Kendell said, with comms to get a mission done. But one thing, and I'll even go even more further backwards, it starts at the doors of HR. It starts with picking the right people to wear this uniform and do this job. Right. So it starts way back before, what we're talking about now.
Yeah, and since you mentioned that, let's talk about recruitment and retention, because those are two big words right now in criminal justice land, because everyone is having trouble recruiting. The way people think about this profession has changed. There's not as many, unfortunately, young people who want to be involved in a service organization. So we've got to step up our game when it comes to recruitment, and I think we are. We're doing a great job with it. And again, if we compare ourselves with the region, I think we're doing a wonderful job, but it's not enough just to get the right people in. You got to have the things to keep them here. And with the emphasis that we have on the wellness of our people, their mental wellness, their physical wellness, everything that we do to try to keep them healthy for as long as possible in this high-stress job, I think those are the kind of things that are going to keep people in the profession as we go down the road.
Yeah.
Totally
and not to talk bad about any other agency, but what would you say sets us apart from those neighboring agencies in terms of benefits and all that?
There's a lot of things, and this is something Kendell and I talked about. Her brother retired from here too as well. Of course, our son worked here for a while under the previous sheriff and a little bit under me. There's a bigger picture. We're trying to market a culture.
Yes.
And we're trying to market a culture that's, I talk to my Kendell all the time. She's actually a great example because I listen to what she has. I mean, she's trying to recruit nurses at probably a third of what they can make in a different world.
Right.
And I'll kind of let her, I listen to her when she talks about some things about with her nurses and like, how is she getting nurses to come work for the school district at $30,000, $40,000 a year that can go in a hospital and make $40,000 or $80,000 a year, including herself? And I listen a little bit going, okay, wait a minute, you got to just market something else beside, and it's a culture. I hear her nurses say the same thing we hear here. Sheriff, we're here because of you and the people that we work with. It's a culture.
Yeah.
So the uniforms look great. The cars look great. I think the pay has come up significantly since we took over as the sheriff in my administration. We talk back about comms, and comms started at $30,000, $32,000 a year just 4 years ago when I took over. And my staff and I, working with the commission, has been very good to us. County Administrator Jory Andrews has been very good to us. That partnership, that relationship. And now, fast forward, they're over $50,000 a year. You can always say it's not about pay. It is about pay. If you can't pay the bills, why are you going to come here?
It has to be about pay at some point, right?
Sure. I think recruiting and retention, again, we are light years ahead of the African American community. You look over here and you say, how are you doing that? People I coach, for goodness sakes, have come back. I mean, Kendell and I can tell a story about Marquise Davis Welch, or Deputy Welch. I met him playing football. I met him actually at the Boys and Girls Club. Great, good-looking African-American male. He had dreads down to the top of his back, the bottom of his back. And I said, what is your story? We all have a story, right? What's your story? Played football at UAB, and played football at North Colorado State. And he's like, I came back home working at Boys and Girls Club. Come be one of us. Oh, no. Well, fast forward now, he is one of us.
Right.
So you look at the population of St. Johns County, it's under 5% of African-American. And that's not how we grew up, by the way. It was probably closer to 15%. They didn't go away. It's just the rest of the county boomed and everything else, right? And anyways, I think it's recruiting and retention. We don't recruit based on race, creed, color, religion, sexual orientation, or age. We straight up recruit. And now adding Deputy Eureka Grubbs, Eureka, Grubbs over to recruiting and retention. She was a number one recruiter for the Florida Department of Corrections forever.
She's amazing.
She is amazing, and now she's coming over full time. So between her, listen, Corporal Rodriguez, great guy.
Absolutely.
He's
Their personalities
perfect.
together are going to kill it.
I'm telling you. Yeah, that's a good point.
They're gonna do
We can put
great
them in the same
things.
office together. It's going to be quite entertaining.
Oh, wow, yeah.
because they're rock
Yeah,
stars.
they
yeah.
are, yeah.
And she even said, too, when the first time we met Tony Rodriguez, our head recruiter, he sold furniture at Haverty's. He's selling a product here. The
Right.
product is, why do you want to be a part of this agency? It's just like selling a piece of furniture, really. It's just selling that product. So, yeah, I think we're doing great things here. We got you?
Yeah,
Yes.
right. Absolutely.
Having a great time.
Yeah. So far, we'll see what you say. As Director Skip Cole said, we've ruined her. We've ruined her. She said, you can do better than us. Is what we walked out of a staffing one day together
No,
with
you
Taylor.
can't have more fun than us.
Seriously.
You can't have more fun.
Seriously. No one cries harder than us. No one laughs harder than us. No one plays harder than us. But also, no one does the job better than us.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. Anything we missed?
Lots of things. We can talk all day. This is our agency. You want to talk about Kendell and I's marriage?
I think that's a whole episode in itself. I could have you guys sit here together. And
Yeah, if you don't mind, a couple of therapy dogs like sitting out here a little bit. Maybe some. Okay, yeah.
I am going to put a quick plug in for our new project.
Oh,
Go
Time
for
in
it.
a Dreams.
Yeah, go for it. Yep.
So we have a new project that will fall under PAL, the Diamond of Dreams project, and it's a special baseball field and playground designed specifically for children and adults with special needs. And I say adults because it's supposed to be geared towards children, but we're hoping that we can form an adult, maybe softball league, football, or wiffle ball league,
yeah.
something like that in the near future after it's built as well, to give the adult community as well a place to come out and have a good time.
The vision that she has, of course, is to have a fully carpeted
Yes.
baseball field, basically, or a multi-purpose field. Because the more we think about it now, it's like, let's just not, make it
limit
just
it.
baseball.
And that you can
Yeah.
use like wheelchairs,
Yeah.
Yes,
most
it is.
people,
Yes.
not the mobility impaired folks, all different
All the
kinds of
above.
disabilities.
All
the
yeah.
above.
Mhm.
Yeah, the nonverbal kids too, as well, that are still trying to figure out, what does first base mean, kind of thing. But if you haven't been to Field of Dreams up in northern St. Johns County in Aberdeen, then you're missing out. So we go there every single year. Coach, of course, George and Chuck have been phenomenal.
Yes.
Van Cor and Chuck Forcier that run that league up there, and we heard them say we're overcrowded. We're not trying to take away from those kids. We just told them that the other day. We're trying to see what we can do in southern St. Johns County. But also, too, you didn't talk about the playground.
Oh my goodness. Yes, the playground. I want this playground to be amazing because children in wheelchairs don't always get the same resources that other children have. So we want the children, not just for them, but for all children with special needs and their siblings or their parents to be able to play together on a specially designed playground. So I want a lot of, if not the majority of the equipment to be able to, a child in a wheelchair to be able to go onto a swing or onto the merry-go-round. But I also want them to be able to do that with their siblings or with their parents, their grandparents, whatever. So like we would go to a playground with our children and run around and play. They should have the same opportunity. So that's what we're going to do.
What's the timeline looking like for when this will be?
It's going a little fast right now.
Well, I would love for it to be next year at this time.
Yeah.
I mean, that's my ultimate goal, but I have to be realistic. So that is what I would push for. But if it's a little longer, that's okay. If it goes faster, great. So right now we're in the fundraising part of it, and we've had some great responses, and Tom League has agreed to take the appropriations part of it to Tallahassee, and just a shout out to that. That's amazing to just say that you would help us here in St. Johns County for children. Yeah.
Awesome.
She's in the car, for goodness sakes. We're driving. And she's like, did you call so-and-so? Did you send it so-and-so? Did you send that? Did you tell? I'm like, my goodness gracious. Yeah. Not that I have a job anywhere else, because you are my full-time job. I agree.
You're my full-time job. I have a full-time job.
That's next episode.
No.
Next episode.
Everybody knows I have 2 full-time jobs.
Yes, everybody knows.
Right, thank you.
Director Wiles,
Thank you.
your contract is this big.
No, you are good, Director Wiles.
Kendall's contract is 33 years. Contract. Yours is about 33 sentences. No, 33.
33 seconds.
Yeah, that's a long time too as well. Yeah, she's amazing. She's this is gonna
Team
happen,
effort.
by the way.
It's amazing that I've had so much buy-in from people here at the sheriff's office supporting this and saying yes, this is absolutely
Makes sense.
something that
Yeah.
we want to get behind and help you push through. And so thank you to everybody who's stepped up and already done so much work for me. And as a team, we are pushing this forward.
It was funny. I was up in Aberdeen, and we said, how much did this playground cost? $250,000. Like, so we kind of stopped for a minute. We get in the car, and she's like, we're going to do better than that. I'm like, of course we are. So if our playground, seriously, the playground that she has envisioned and what we think we can do, we're going to push a playground probably close to $1 million.
Wow.
But we want every opportunity for a kid in a wheelchair, for a kid that's just can't walk. And I hate to say this too, Madison Shemitz is going to be part of this too as well, because we want someone just like her to be able to go up there as a child and be able to use these facilities and maybe play with her child one day on these facilities.
Right.
So it's going to come to this playground for a wheelchair and special needs is going to be on steroids. It'll be the biggest invest. We talked to Tim Tebow. Kendall was awesome, and Tim Tebow was like going big for the throat. We met with Tim Tebow before the Florida Georgia game.
Right.
He's like, what about a park, an amusement park? I'm like, wait, we're just trying to build a playground first. Maybe we can go down.
I bet he would have a lot of ideas.
Well,
He has a lot of ideas,
Yeah.
and he's already allowed me to set up a meeting with his foundation to speak with them and present
Coming
to
soon.
them as well. Yes,
Yeah.
to just get some more ideas and see where we can maybe form a partnership.
Yeah, and we're flying up to his Relax on our dime. We're flying up to his special needs. It's Paradise up in Pennsylvania. It's a
Right.
massive compound per se for special needs individuals.
Get some ideas.
Yeah, we're going to fly up there, but he's at a much bigger level. He's like talking a Ferris wheel, amusement park. We're kind of calm down there, Tim. This is just going to be we're just Kendall's vision of kind of emulating what they're doing in Aberdeen, Florida. So, and then she did some research too. The only other handicap wheelchair accessible playground in the area is Orange Park. That's unacceptable.
Wow.
Right.
That's
Right.
unacceptable.
Besides the one that's right across
Oh,
in
Aberdeen.
Aberdeen.
Yeah,
right.
Aberdeen. But
Other
if that
than
one's broken or down, the only other place to go is Orange Park, Florida.
Well,
That's-
even just accessibility too for anyone who's in a different area
By
of
far.
our county as
Sure.
well. So.
Yeah. Well, we've identified too, St. Johns County and around 25,000 people are at or below the poverty line. They live mostly in southern St. Johns County. She knows for a fact from working at Gamble Rogers Middle School for 10 years with the special needs programs there that these kids can't afford to go all the way to Aberdeen to play sports. When we open this compound, when she opens this compound, I'm telling you what, we're hoping that it's just flooded with kids of
Absolutely.
special abilities. It's
Yeah.
going to be awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And St. Johns County Fight Night is a fundraiser for
Yes,
this project as well, right?
it is. Absolutely.
So let's transition to that. 'Cause
Okay.
That's a huge event for
Buy those
not
tickets.
only the sheriff's office, but a lot of organizations.
Yeah.
Right. And the tickets are on sale right now, right?
So this is just, I've always enjoyed fighting. I mean, she'll tell you this, I'm a fight addict, even when I was in the 82nd Airborne Division, we used to go to hockey games too up there because like Fort Bragg.
watch the fights.
Yeah, 82nd Airborne Division actually had a hockey team. They would play at these colleges. We've seen them fight during the American flag, presentation because people aren't paying respect to the national anthem. But on a serious note, I brought that here. Chrissy Pageant came into our life when she came and applied for a job at St. Augustine's Beach Police Department. And we just started talking a little bit, and I'm like, tell me about yourself. And she's like, she was kickboxing at the time. She's big into dance. As you know, she's a University of Florida grad. Her beautiful wife now, Corinne, back then were just friends. They were involved in dance. And I said, you want to fight in Guns and Hoses? Sure, she said. Well, it kind of snowballed into that. I finally got a chance in my professional career to really get behind the guns and hoses. I would have loved to box, but this one's like, you're too old. But anyways, she got involved in Guns and Hoses. We really stood behind her, and supported her in Guns and Hoses. And I said, we can do our own thing down here in St. Johns County. So we did it last year, as you know, kind of piggybacked with the Florida Man Games. Pete Melfi's been a great friend of ours, supporter of us and our agency. But it wasn't the right place for it. We wanted to showcase our PAL kids. When I took over as your sheriff here 4 years ago, we started the boxing program for the children. I think the first year or so, we had 80 kids involved in the program, mostly young girls. And Chrissy Pageant was involved. Her coach came on board, Coach John. He's been phenomenal. Now his son's in the program. So here we go, Fight Night. February 13th, the AMP has teamed up with us. Gabe Pellissier and his
Love
amazing crew over there, Carl and Aubrey. They've teamed up with us. They're basically, all those profits are going to go towards, the Field of Dream or the Diamond of Dreams, and also Police Athletic League, which is what Kendall is under, that 501c3. Super excited. So February 13th, we are training. All of our boxes on the law enforcement side are from St. Johns County Sheriff's Office. We got people from her division and HR, from the jail, from the road. And then we challenge, St. Johns County Fire and Rescue. They didn't have enough fighters, so St. Augustine City has plussed us up or plussed them up, and then also Hit Like a Girl. Hit Like a Girl really. They had a great turnout last year. A lot of the fighters came from Hit Like a Girl in the AMP gym. So this year, February 13th, we're going to have our weigh-in, which is closed to the public on the 12th at the AMP. Our boxing ring will be down there in the pit. So if you've been to the AMP, it'll be in the pit. And then they've graciously given us a lot of tickets to raise money. And then we made a decision also, too, which I didn't tell you about. Lieutenant George Harrigan, his Explorers actually are going to be able to work the parking lot and charge for a donation. So they have to raise money every year, too, as well. So the Explorers are always begging for money. So it's going to be an awesome night. Yep. And I am your ring host.
Right.
But the night before, on the 12th, my beautiful bride's going to tell me not to yell. So we're going to speak just like this. And then on fight night, I'm going to let it go.
Well, get out and support those Explorers too. They do amazing things. They're always out helping with all kinds of events, and here at the Sheriff's Office, and TPC, and you'll see them at different events throughout the county, and they do great things as well. So definitely, please support the Explorers.
Where'd your son start?
Explorers.
Yes.
Absolutely.
It's quite, not to get off track here, but
Our
quick
youngest
story.
son.
Yeah, Brett.
Yeah.
At 12 years old, he was an explorer here in the post, and there's a lot of other ones that were with him too at the time. And he got like Explorer of the Quarter, and they said, "What do you want to do?" He's like, "Oh, I'd like to go up in a helicopter." Jason Caban at the time was one of the lead pilots, like we talked about, and we took a video of this. He took off, and Brett was in the back seat with no doors on the OH-58. And fast forward now, he's 28 years old. He's an instructor pilot. He's a senior pilot. He'll be a CW3 with the Army. He flew all of our aircrafts here, and now he flies 2 aircrafts with the Army side of the house. Yeah. And he's closing on 2,000 hours. I mean, it's kind of crazy, but it started because the opportunity was given right here in this house as an explorer.
Oh.
So February 13th, bell rings at 6 p.m. at night. Get online, buy your tickets. And again, we can sell up to 5,000 tickets. So we're not trying to sell out. And this is not a moneymaker. We're just trying to pay the bills to let people have a good time, safe environment, of course. And the good thing with the AMP, too, as well, is they're going to provide the drinks and alcohol and food there like a normal amphitheater event. So we don't have to worry about none of that garbage that's on them. We can just go there and fight.
That's awesome.
And DJ Alvarez will be running the house, rocking the house. Yeah. He rocked it last year, but this year we have a partnership with Greg Adams, who's a big partner of ours in our campaigns and done a lot of good things in the community. We're going to have the sound system up that they would have for any other concert, because I believe there's a massive concert on the Friday night after our event. So DJ Alvarez, Jeff Alvarez, if you don't know, Deputy Alvarez, will be rocking that venue with a backup. I think Sheldon York's going to back him up in case DJ Alvarez falls out for some reason. So just real quick, just envision sitting in that stadium and looking at the stage. The stage will be empty. The boxing ring will be down in the pit. They'll walk off a ramp from the stage. It'll be all blacked out with a massive American flag that Captain Dern's going to hang coming down. They'll come up behind that. Sean Tice, who's our new executive director of PAL, is going to make they bought 2 tunnels for their football kids. So they'll have 2 tunnels filled with smoke. The fighters will come out, walk on the stage, middle of the ring, and we will rock that place.
Real deal.
Real deal.
That's awesome.
Yeah. You'll be there. You're filming.
Oh, no, I know. I will be there.
Yeah. Real deal because of you.
We already have our drones and cameras all set up.
That's amazing.
The plan for it. So I'm excited.
Super excited. It's going to be huge. It's a good thing for our agency, too, to do something different besides just come to work.
Absolutely.
Exactly. Yeah.
Kendall wanted to fight me. I was like, no.
Oh,
Keep the fights in the ring. Fights in the ring.
You keep the fight in the ring.
Maybe it'll be a special bout.
Yeah.
You want to fight me?
Yes.
I know. See, that scares me. That scares me.
She knows she'd win.
Yes.
Do you see how
She
quick
knows
that was?
she'd
It's like,
win.
yes. Yeah.
All those people watching.
I'm just kidding. No, she didn't touch me. Just kidding.
Any last minute thoughts before we wrap it up?
No, you're amazing. This is great. These podcasts are going to be great. Speak up. Tell us what you want.
Yeah.
And we're excited for you and what you're doing for this agency.
Thank you.
But
Thank you,
real
everybody,
quick,
for
where can they reach us? Where can they email us?
I was
what's
just
your-
about
sorry.
to say. So we do have a public facing email if there's a specific topic you want everybody to discuss, or if you just have questions for the sheriff or any other personnel, email them to unlockedpodcast@sjso.org. That email will be on our social media as well, so it's super easy to find. But yeah, this is the start of a awesome project.
Super
Way to
excited.
get everybody
Yeah.
involved. So I'm excited.
Yeah.
Thank you for
Is there
kicking it off.
a topic coming up that you're thinking about?
We do have a list.
Okay.
We have K9, SWAT. I think drone was on the list too. Mental health was on the list as well. We have so many topics. We'll be good for years.
Good.
Okay.
And
Awesome.
I also want to bring comms in here.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
There's so many you're going to forget. I'm telling you.
I know.
CCOs, booking
Yeah.
specialists,
We'll get 'em all.
bailiffs.
Oh, I'm telling you, there's no.
There's no end to it.
Yeah.
No.
There's
We do
so much
good
to talk about.
stuff. We do exciting stuff.
I agree.
Absolutely, all day.
Awesome.
All right.
By the way, I think you just figured out too. Kendall's a human sponge. She'll bring up stuff like, remember when we were 16, you said you actually were mad at me in the hallway? I'm like, my God, no. So if you say something to her, she sponges, waits, attacks. Have a great day, everybody.
Where did that come from?
Because you just said, because we're all done. It's like, hey, have a great day, everybody. Remember, don't forget to put the information out like you told me to remember. Yeah.